I'm doing a quick live on cybersecurity stuff. If you have any questions whatsoever, my name is Bruce. I do a Convocourses podcast once a week. Lately, I've been doing them every day of the week just as an experiment to see how this goes. I'm answering your questions live. I'm focusing on chat today. So any questions you have about getting into this career field as a cybersecurity professional, I can answer it. I've been in this field for quite some time, so it's like you got an inside man. And if you have any kind of questions whatsoever about whether that'll help you to make a decision on whether or not you want to get into this field of IT or cybersecurity, this is a great opportunity for you to do that. This is not going to be a quick, a long live like I do on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This is going to be a quick one. So any questions that you guys have whatsoever, I know it's the weekend. I mean, it's a weekday, so I know a lot of people are not trying to do this on a weekday. But I'm gonna start off by just answering some questions that I got recently on YouTube. If you guys on TikTok, on Facebook, I'm on 3-4 different platforms. Any questions you guys have, I will be answering them. Is there any way around cybersecurity without a degree? I love cybersecurity. Yes. So there is. You can get in without a degree. You can get in without a certification. You can get in without experience. It's going to be harder, but you can do it. That being said, it's not going to make a lot of money. You're probably going to have to settle for like a help desk type job where you're doing cybersecurity. In other words, they're going to call you a help desk professional, but you'll do cybersecurity. You cannot get in without knowledge. Like you're going to have to know the basics of cybersecurity of IT, the basics of information technology and how it works. You're going to have to know the basics of cybersecurity, best practices and stuff like that. But you can get in without experience. Like I said, not easy, not going to pay a lot, but it is possible. Okay. The more of those things that you stack on, the better it's going to be for you to get into this field. The more experience you have, the better. If you have a certification, that's great. If you have a degree, even better. So all of those things will help you to get in this field. Okay, hope that helped answer your question. Thank you for that question, by the way. You're the first question on here. Let me see. Michael AI asked me, what questions do you ask at an interview to a future employer? So the questions I ask, first of all, it's based off of what I read. I read what their, what kind of company it is and like what they do for, what their mission is, their if they have a mission statement, a vision statement. I read all that stuff, but also I read like what it is my job's going to entail. I am researching them just as much as they're reading my resume. I'm reading their resume. I even go as far as to see who worked there. You can go to places like salary.com or PayScale, and sometimes former employees will post their comments of the company. It's not always great. Sometimes it's okay, right? But what I look for is like, what are some real experiences of people who work there? That's what I'm really looking for. I'm not looking for people who give them a 1 star because they got mad, that they, how sometimes people do like a 1 star and it's like it's irrelevant to the actual company. I'm looking for somebody who actually had experience there and can give like a plus and minus of that company. So based on that is where I ask my questions. My main things that I always ask is how much travel there is. I always ask that. I try to ask like how much actual work there is because it varies. Like the way I ask that question is there shift work? What I'm asking is how many hours in a day do we work? Is it a 12-hour shift? And how many times a week do we work that 12-hour shift? Is it like in a SOC, for example, a security operations center? If you're an analyst, they have like rotating shifts. So you have to have a swing shift, a night shift, and a day shift. And that's not something I personally want to do. So I need to know that, and then travel. That's a big one for me because I'm a single father. Like I can't be gone all the time. I can be gone quite a bit, but like if it's too much, I can't, I don't want to do that. So that's another question I ask. I also ask about benefits because benefits help the income. Like if they tell me you're going to make 10,000 a month or whatever, if I know the benefits, it might be more or less than 10,000 a month, right? Sometimes they'll say it's 10,000, but actually it's like 8 gross, but they're going to add some stocks, which can be good. So it just depends on like what the company is giving is going to be based on my questions. But the ones I always ask is how much travel, what is the shift, what kind of shift work do we have, do they have flex hours? I'm asking questions like that because I want to have a little bit of flexibility in my day. Another thing is I'll ask, if they don't bring it up first, is are there difficult customers or clients? Because and that's not a make or break for me, but I want to know if there are, just to prepare myself for how. And usually they do have one. If you're working in cybersecurity, you already know like how it is. Those are the main questions that I ask. And some red flags. You said for ISO role, red flags. So what are some red flags for me? Would be shift work is a red flag for me personally. Maybe I've done it before. I really didn't like it. Um, and then another red flag is if the travel is over, for me, if it's over 40%, then that's a red flag for me, because 40% actually means 50%. And if 50%, it means like 60%, because you got to put in the travel time. They don't calculate the travel time in there. So those are the main questions that I ask. Other than that, I like to know the environment. I'll ask questions about like, what's the environment like when you're there? And sometimes they'll be like, yeah, it's a great environment. We all help each other out. We're a team and we always have each other's back. It's something like that, is what I kind of want to hear. But if they don't really have an answer for me, that tells me that's not a showstopper for me, but it might indicate that the company really doesn't care about the employees and people are kind of in and out, and you're just a number, not a showstopper, but I would like to know before I go in. So those are kind of some of the red flags and some of the things I ask. Thanks for that question, Michael. Somebody else asked me government versus private in cybersecurity. For me personally, let me give you some of the pros and cons real quick. Government, highly stable. That's GS positions, military, very stable. Probably the best benefits. They give you the most time off, the most leave and vacation. They give you up to 30 days a year for vacation, which is unheard of in the private sector. Very rare do private sector people do that. Pros, it's hard to get fired there. Once they hire you, they're going to do everything in their power to try to keep you. It's more stable in that way. Better benefits, more stable, more time off in a year. The medical's usually really good. What other benefits do they have? They usually have a very stable amount of training. It's not crazy training. It'll be very in line with your job, but they're going to give you some sort of training. And those are the main benefits. Some of the cons to working in the government is they don't pay very much. They're not competitive with the private sector. It can be a bit repetitive and boring because you're not doing like crazy stuff. They kind of keep you in one area and then you just stay there. It's hard to have level up. Somebody has to leave for you to level up. And it's usually not work from home positions. And sometimes now these days they're kind of more flex jobs. They're getting better about doing that kind of stuff. But it's usually like you're going to be in an office and at least a few times a week, and you're not going to be able to like really travel and stuff. Well, I guess you could because you have 30 days off, so you probably do that. The private sector is different. Like private sector, they have more flexibility in your learning. Like you might come in learning doing this job, like you're a cybersecurity analyst, right? But then they might see, hey, could you do some consulting for this client? Like we want you to jump into this meeting and help us to talk about this product we have. You're doing a little consulting there, they got a little bit more flexibility in your learning, which I found really fun to do. Like sometimes they'll just add this other stuff in there and you'll be learning. Like in my last job, we started doing like I was doing wireless scans, which I'd never done before, and I was fascinated and had a great time doing that. So that's one of the good things. They pay way better in the private sector. Their training when they have it is like off the hook. Like you'll be doing like if you're whatever they're doing, they're trying to multitask you. So it's kind of a benefit for them to get you in there. And so those are the main things. The bad things is that their benefits aren't very good. It's very volatile. Like they can just like if they lose the contract, you're done. You know what I mean? Well, you'll be the first to go. Um, that's part of the main benefits and stuff. I would say if you're a family guy, if you're a family person, then probably the government's a better choice. If you're more flexible with your money, maybe you already have a side business and you have a family and stuff, but you already have money coming in. Like I would probably say private sector for that. Or if you're a single dude and you're just trying to play footloose and fancy free and just want more money and cash, and I would say private sector. So that's just my 2 cents about it. Haven't worked both. Let me see. Do you think cybersecurity space is getting saturated? No, absolutely not. Because I see a lot of cybersecurity influencers, and how can I stand out when starting? Okay, so here, let me answer a couple of these questions. Is the cybersecurity space saturated as in jobs? No, man. We need so many people. Every job I go to, we don't have enough people. And this can't be. I mean, there's something to be said about this because in the last 5 jobs I've had, the last 5 private sector jobs I've had, we are always short staffed and we always need more people, and there's not enough people to do the work. So as far as an influencer, I don't know. I don't watch cybersecurity influencers. I personally don't watch them, and it's not personal. It's just I do this all day, so I don't. I do this all day, so unless it's something special, I don't want to really talk about it. I don't want to hear anybody talk about it. I'm talking about it because I have a audience. I have people who I'm helping, so it's my motives are different. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not like seeking it out when I'm off, like I'm not watching cybersecurity influencers. If I see them, I'm like scrolling past them because I don't want to hear it. This is what I do all day. Literally, I do it all day. I write about it. I'm constantly in this. So if I'm reading about it, I'm on a government site or I'm reading a white paper or I'll watch other influencers. I watch AI influencers, gaming influencers. I watch, Marvel comics. I watch anything that's not related. Sometimes science stuff or crazy IT stuff, I watch that. But cybersecurity, I don't watch it. So I wouldn't even know if it's saturated or not. I would say no. I would say no. I mean, I think you need more people talking about cybersecurity, if anything. And how can I stand out is your next question. How can I stand out how can I stand out when starting? You mean as an influencer or as a getting inside? Okay, I'm assuming you mean influencer. Stand out. Use your own voice. I would say just be yourself. Be yourself. Like get on here. Like look at me. Look at me. Do I have a suit on? Who do I look like? I'm just myself, man. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm just being me, and I'm speaking from the heart. And people respond to when you're real because then they know it's authentic, right? So just be yourself. I would say the something that people can't repeat is you. So you like if you cuss a lot, man, get on there and cuss a lot. If you whatever you do, just be yourself as much as possible, and that right there will allow you to stand out a little bit. If you're talking about being an influencer. How's it going? What are your thoughts on cloud? I'm starting a degree in cloud computing in May. My thoughts on cloud is that cloud is hot fire. It's lava. It's a lava bender. It's a fire bender. Like it's crazy. So just to give me an example of how hot cloud is, in this job that I currently work in, without going into in details about where I'm working or wherever. So I had like 4 or 5 interviews. Of the say 5 interviews I had, 4 of them asked me about cloud. They asked me technical questions about cloud. They asked me what's my experience with cloud. They asked me that kind of stuff. And I'm not a cloud guy, so I would say cloud is super hot right now. I would say get as much experience as you can. First of all, take the degree. That's great. But also get experience. Okay. A lot of people talk about certifications, and I know you guys want to keep talking about certifications, but I'm telling you, experience is king. You can't beat experience. So even if you're a college student, get the experience however way you can actually get experience through projects. I don't know if you knew that, but there's a way you can word that on your resume to put the projects on there so that the employers know that you have experience building an SQL server or building I don't know, AWS or Azure server to make cloud happen. So you can do that, but also volunteer at your school if you can, and do cloud stuff in the school. Like the best experience you can get is working for a actual company, like, or some not necessarily a company, but an organization who has something to lose. Because that means you really had to dot your I's and cross your T's, because their data, they entrusted you with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, or thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And that's something, when you put that on your resume, it has more impact than a project you did, for some class or something, or even a project you did for your uncle. If you did it for your uncle's business, and that's different. So that's what I'll say about that. Hope that helps. Let me see. I got some thanks, guys. I got some stuff on YouTube. People jumping on here. Appreciate it. Always appreciate it, YouTube. And if you happen to be watching me on Indeed, you can ask. I see your questions, so feel free to ask me. Before I go any further, you guys should know that I have a free book that's coming out really soon. If you're interested in getting a copy of this free book so that I can get a positive review from you, if you are interested, this is something that you can do to give a positive review to your boy, then you guys need to join my newsletter, because I'm literally right now in the process of giving out free books. This is a limited time offer. So if you're watching this video a week later, it's probably too late. Like right now is the time to sign up if you want this book. I give you the book, and then in 2 days, this book is going to go out on Amazon, and I'm going to contact you again and say, hey, could you give me a review? Right? If it's a negative review, keep it to yourself, because I don't want to hear it. If it's a negative review, tell me directly, right? I want to hear your all reviews, but if it's negative, just contact me directly. Say, hey, Bruce, man, like, I found your writing stale. This is not something you should be doing. I didn't get anything out this book. But hey, man, I like you, but this book sucked, or whatever. You can tell me that personally. But if you're gonna give me a positive review, I'm in a couple days, it's going out. So if you're interested in this, sign up for the newsletter. I'm going to release it one more time, this book one more time, because I already have like 60 people who joined me. And thank you guys, for all you guys who already have a copy of my book. I appreciate it so much. All of your help has helped in my last 2 or 3 books that I put out like this. And if you're interested in this, go to convocourses.net, sign up. You'll see like a little join letter. Join that. You'll be on my newsletter, and then I'm going to send it out like one more time. Or you can just contact me directly. It's contact@convocourses.com. And then if you send me, hey, Bruce, I'm going to review your book. I'm interested. That's the best way to contact me right now, because I'll send you the book immediately. All right. So let me see. Back to the questions. Let me see. Before I get to that one, says difference between network engineer and cybersecurity analyst. Just my 2 cents. Haven't done both of them, but I'm just going to tell you my personal experience. I used to be a network engineer. I had CCNA. I actually hooked up some networks before. I wasn't like the most high speed network engineer. I would say I was pretty new at it and did it for like 3 years or something. Got to the CCNA level. I knew my stuff a bit, but I know some dudes who are like super high speed. And then cybersecurity analysts, I also did that as well. So first of all, what's the differences? Okay. So network engineer is somebody who is, their main purpose is to make sure the network is running smoothly. So they're troubleshooting the network, they're setting up the network, they're configuring the network. That includes switches, routers, and all devices in between that have to do with the network functionality, getting bits and bytes from one point to another across the network. So you got people who do switches, and switches are devices that hold the LAN together, the local area network together. And then you've got routers that are routing data from one LAN to another LAN, sometimes across the internet. They use encryption, they use routing protocols to make that it's basically a smart technology that allows packets to be sent from at a long distance. I hope I'm not destroying the meaning behind that, but that's what it's doing. So So a network engineer they're involved with the supporting the infrastructure, and how the packets go from here to there. A cybersecurity analyst is different. So what they're doing is those are the dudes who they're watching packets come into the network, and they're looking for security incidents or anomalies. They're looking for anything that looks like it shouldn't be there on the network. They're monitoring their network to see if there's malware, um, persistent threats, advanced persistent threats, people trying to get into the network and exploit it, people exfiltrating or sending data outside of the network. They're looking for denial of service attacks. Now they have to work sometimes with the network engineers to say, okay, we're seeing all these packets come through from the same site. Could you guys block this port? Or they might get with the firewall team and say, hey, we're seeing this. You might want to change this rule here and block this site because these guys are doing a denial of service attack on us. Or they might say, hey, we're seeing all this traffic on the network. Could you guys take a look? They'll talk to the network engineering team and say, could you guys take a look at this? Does this look normal to you? What is this? And the network engineering team might say, well, no, this is just open shortest path first or something, some routing algorithm that we have that we already know what this is, so don't worry about it. So that's the differences between the two. The cybersecurity analyst is looking at the packets going on the network. They're looking for anomalies, and they're focused on security incidents. And network engineers are managing the network to make sure has a certain level of quality on the network and it's working. So I hope that answers your question. Bruce, can I sign up for your resume service? Yeah, I think I have another opening for you. Yeah, just go ahead and sign up for it, man. I haven't really opened it up to everybody yet, but go ahead and jump in there, man. I'll get right on that for you. Let me see. Is ISC2 certified in cybersecurity a cert equal to a CompTIA A plus or Security Plus from a hiring perspective? I would put it on par with a Security Plus in the type of information that's in there. As far as its marketability, that is in question because it just came out. So there's a couple things I look at with certifications. Okay, this is my personal perspective on it, and I can't speak for every hiring organization. Now, obviously, they're going to have their own take on this, but let me just tell you my take on it. So there's a marketability aspect of certifications, and then there's a usability aspect. And I would say, depending on your goals, would be how you weight those two things. The differences are this. If you're talking about marketability, if you get yourself a Security Plus, people know what it is. They're actively looking for it, and they have an idea of the level of knowledge you have to get that Security Plus. It's marketable. It's like, I would equate it to the marketability to Lark Burger versus McDonald's. Most of you guys don't know what Lark Burger is, but it's one of the most delicious burgers here in Colorado. It's quality. The patty's quality. It's the best burger ever, right? It's so good, but nobody knows what it is. But everybody knows what McDonald's is. So the CEH is a great example of that. CEH is a certified ethical hacker. It's McDonald's. It's the McDonald's of penetration of pen testing certifications. No, everybody knows what it is. It's it's the McRib. Everybody knows what that is. But is the quality good? It's no Lark Burger. So if you want a Lark Burger, if you want a quality, then you got to go with the, I don't know, Kali Linux certification, which nobody knows what that is. Nobody knows what that is, or GPIN, and nobody, people know what it is. But anyway, so your question is the CC is that at the equivalent of these two? So like I said, two things. Marketability wise, it's new. Like nobody knows what that is. Is it quality? I've never taken it before, but most things from ISC2 Square are on point, and you can bet that eventually they will market the hell out of it, and eventually it will get on par with a Security Plus type certification. Eventually it'll get there. IC2 Square is a great organization. I've been with them for a long time. I've got a couple certifications by them, and taken their certifications in there, and they're great. So marketability, no, it's not there. It's not even on the level of an A plus yet. Quality wise, I'm sure it's good because it's from ISC2 Squared. If you're trying to get money like right now, I would lean towards a Security Plus. And if you don't have knowledge for Security Plus, if you're not ready for that A plus certification, then Security Plus. That's what I would recommend. I wouldn't. Should you take a certified? Sure, but don't take it instead of a Security Plus. If that makes any sense, I hope that makes sense. That's just my 2 cents in it. That's just my 2 cents. Okay, let me see. I've got some questions on. Thanks for all the questions on TikTok. Wow, I'm surprised, man. Tech Takeover says help desk or cybersecurity analyst. There will be a lot of time to figure out what you want to do. Okay, somebody is what? Okay, so he's answering a tech takeover. Thank you so much for that. Answering people's questions. Let me see. What would be an entry level job? I think that was your question. Okay, let me get to the top of this. I got a couple questions. I'll try to do a lightning round before I quit this. I'm gonna be out of here in a few minutes. So, how's it going? What is your thoughts on cloud? I'm trying to take a degree. I already answered that one. Which will be automated first, security or cloud? I do sysadmin, and I'm trying to pick a niche. I don't. Which one will be automated first? Automated. That's a really broad question. That's a very broad question. Which one will be automated first? You're trying. So okay. Let me explain. So you're talking about AI, more than likely AI and automation, and how long will your job last? That's your question, right? That's what you're trying to get at. So you know where to hedge your bets for a long-term career as a sysadmin. I would say that the tools that are coming out in AI are just that, they're tools. I don't think that it's going to replace jobs anytime soon. As far as what needs to be done, I think it's going to be a great supplement for now. Eventually everything's going to get replaced, I think. I mean, eventually the way we're going, I don't know what humanity is thinking right now, but I don't think that they're having this moratorium on slowing down AI was a good idea, but I think it's too late. The cat's out the bag. So eventually everything's going to get replaced by in some way, shape, or form. There'll always be somebody needed to manage things, or there are always going to be humans necessary, but a lot of jobs are going to get replaced. I should say not all jobs. Just let's keep it real. Not all jobs are going to get replaced, but a lot will, because AI is magnificent. It's really, really good. It will definitely do your job better than you. I mean, I'm blown away by it. So that being said, I'd say in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be us using those tools, whether you're in cloud or security or sysadmin, it's going to be us using those tools. As far as full automation and security, I just can't see security being replaced 100% by it. I can see somebody always having to manage it. I think that the tools will be really, I can't speak, I'm not a cloud guy, but I can think of several ways that security can be used very, very effectively in our jobs. And I think it will just enhance our jobs. I don't think it necessarily will replace us, because there's certain things that from a GRC perspective that has to be done by humans. Like, you got to talk to other people, other organizations, you got to talk to them. And I don't think people don't want to chat with an AI. I mean, even if it could talk to you, eventually you're gonna want to talk to you're gonna have to talk to a person. So I don't know. Is cybersecurity work forgiving, or do mistakes cause big problems? So what's interesting is about cybersecurity is I've made plenty of mistakes. Man, I've been doing this so long. I made some pretty big mistakes that I was like stressing out, freaking out. But what I like about cybersecurity is it's like the military in that they realize that we're doing high risk jobs, so there's gonna be loss. They What's really great about it, just like in the military, you're doing a high when you're doing a high risk job, they realize very quickly if you punish everybody for making mistakes, you won't have anyone left because everybody makes mistakes. So I remember in one environment we were in a classified environment, and a lot of times people we had a classified and an unclassified environment. Now, you're just all day work 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, sometimes longer, and you got literally a classified, in 15 feet apart, and unclassified, classified, and you're working on both. You're doing this one, and you're doing this one. And what would happen sometimes is sometimes you would get your mind to just get mixed up, and you'd put classified stuff on an unclassified environment. That's a security incident. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, dude, somebody's about to get fired. Article 15, they're going to get kicked out. Uniform Code of Military Justice, they're going to get big chicken dinner, all that, everything. Bad conduct discharge is what we called it. But no, none of that stuff happened. So first time I seen it, they would what they would do is they would educate the person. They say, hey, they would get rid of the classified data off the unclassified network. We would go through this whole process, and then to purge the system, the email servers or whatever, and pull all the records of it back or whatever we do. And then they would sit down and have they'd educate the person who did it, right? And that person would be like sweating, like, oh my God, it usually be like a lieutenant or something. And then we would also talk to the person above them to say, hey, this is what happened. Let's make sure it didn't happen again and stuff like that. But they wouldn't like fire the person. And the reason why is because you're doing a high risk job. And if you did that to everyone, literally you probably have 70% less people, because at some point you're going to make a mistake. So it's the same thing in cybersecurity as a whole, that you can't, if you fired people for making these mistakes. Now, there's different kinds of mistakes. If you intentionally put a virus on a production level network, that you're probably going to get fired. But if you unintentionally clicked on a link that pulled in some data, or you, like a dumbass, took a thumb drive and stuck it in a system, or pulled some records off the internet and put it onto a production, and then it had a virus and it was an accident, then you made a mistake. Like, they cleaned it up, they sit you down, you get educated. Why did you do that? What's going on? They're doing an investigation. It won't be it won't be comfortable for you, but they realize you're in a high risk job, and they give you some leeway to where you don't have to worry about losing your job, if that answers your question. All right, let me see here. Other experiences. Let me see. YouTube says, Rubik says, there's a lab to build experience for technical roles, but what can someone do for looking for experience in GRC and audit roles? If you wanted like a lab type environment for GRC roles, well, there are some GRC tools you can use that you could mess with, and for auditing too. So one of them is Tenable. You can go ahead and get Tenable or Nessus and download it for like a 14-day trial and mess around with that. You can do it with Qualys as well. You can download like a trial of it and then mess around with it. There's some other tools. I don't know if you can do that with Archer. You definitely can't do it with EMAS, but those are like content management systems that are they're very useful to use. Another thing you can do for GRC is learn the actual framework that you're doing. You could learn the framework. So in NIST 800, for example, what you could do is go through on the NIST 800 documentation. I would recommend NIST 837, NIST 853, 53A. Read through it, and then get the. You could do things like the documentation piece, like you could do a system security plan. You could figure out, like, how do you write a system security plan? How could you could literally write your own system security plan just to get an idea of what the layout is. That's one thing you can do. You could do the same thing with PCI DSS, HIPAA, Sarbanes-Oxley. All of these have their own like documentation, their own framework, their own like breakdown of how they do this. But if you can get your hands on their controls, super valuable. Hope that answers your question. Let me see. I'm trying to get out of help desk. I've been doing it for years and college degree, and just got my Sec Plus. I'm learning Python right now. So what I would do from here, if you happen to be on the help desk, then I got the perfect thing for you. Now I'm going to get off this thing in a little bit. I got a meeting to go to. But here's what you do. First of all, you got to tighten up your resume. If you don't know how to do this, I've got some free stuff. I got some huge discounts. Go to convocourses.net, link in description, link in bio. But you can download my resume for free to get an idea of what kind of keywords and the wording and the structure that you need to put on your resume, because there's a certain format that is required that you need to do. Okay, and a lot of people get that part wrong. But it's very simple to fix. Like, it's very simple. And then keywords depends on the field you want to go in. So GRC has a different type of keywords than cybersecurity analyst, is different from pen testing, is different from, whatever field of cybersecurity you're trying to get into. You really want to specialize in something. From the help desk. From the help desk, you're a generalist. I'm talking from somebody who was on the help desk. You're a generalist. You know a lot about general things, which is great. It's a great start. That's where I started. Now you want to specialize, whether it's programming, whether it's script writing, whether it's Python's a good one. If it's security, if it's network engineering, whatever. Focus on one thing and start going in that direction. It seems like you're going into security. So the next thing you want to do is start to highlight all the security things you've done on your resume. If you've been on the help desk, you've done security. You just have not highlighted on your resume. If you've ever done security patches, you've done it. If you've done security patches on two different operating systems, you've done it before. If you've ever done anything whatsoever with policy writing or training, that's security based. That's security stuff that you can put on your resume. If you've updated patches, if you've responded to security incidents, if you've done incident response, all that stuff has to be on your resume, because that's what security employers are looking for. So technical recruiters who are looking for security people are looking for these things I'm telling you about. Best security practices. You want to have that on your resume. Once your resume is tight, you've got all of this keyword stuff on your resume. You've got impact statements on there that has metrics and numbers on it, telling how much percentage that's been fixed or whatever. Now what you want to do is put it on the following job sites: LinkedIn, Dice.com, Monster, Career Builder, and any of the top 20 that you can think of. Not only do you want to upload your resume, but then you want to fill out the complete profile. If you want a complete walkthrough of this, I've got a course on this that has a huge discount. I've got books on this with a huge discount, and I've got my free resume that'll walk you through it. But if you do exactly what I just told you, you will get offers. I can't tell you that you'll get the job you want, but I can tell you you'll get opportunities that you can take advantage of if you choose. Let me see. How do I get started with cybersecurity, and where do I start? You start in cybersecurity with basic information technology. That's why it's perfect if you've been on the help desk. Because if you've been on the help desk, you know and understand information technology. You know the difference between a client and a server. You know what a endpoint device is versus a you know the difference between a router and a switch, more than likely. You know what a public IP address is and a private IP address is. You know what encryption, you know different levels of encryption, you know things like how to encrypt data at rest. You probably have some solutions in your head like BitLocker, how to do it. So you have a basic understanding of information technology. The first step of cybersecurity is learning the basics of information technology. That is the first step. And then you could build on your cybersecurity skill set. Hope that answers your question. I'm a cloud engineer and I can answer questions. Man, that's awesome. Tech Takeover is on TikTok and he's answered questions on cloud computing, cloud engineering. Awesome. And people are asking them questions. Holy crap. Thanks, Tech Takeover. Appreciate that. That's awesome, man. Love to see that. Okay, in the meantime, let me answer some questions. I got a couple more in me before I jump on this other meeting. Let me see here. What is the most stress-free remote job? Okay, here's a good one. Jay Everything says, what's the most stress-free remote cloud job one can get that doesn't involve coding that much? I don't consider scripting as coding. I cannot answer this question, but somebody who can would be Tech, if he's still on TikTok. Let me see. My man Tech Takeover is a cloud engineer. So Tech Takeover, let me ask you a question. It's a question I have on YouTube. So somebody's asking, what is the most stress-free remote cloud job one can get that doesn't involve coding? And he's not talking, when he says coding, he's not talking about scripting. He doesn't consider scripting coding. So let me see if Tech Takeover still, I don't know if he's still on here. There's like 12 people watching me on TikTok. Let me see. Tech Takeover seems to be either he's typing or he's gone. Or she. Okay, well, we're waiting on that. I'm just going to keep answering a couple more questions. That's a suspicious question. Quickest ways to get a top secret clearance. Is it required for high level secret positions? That's a suspicious question. Are there companies that seem to favor hiring new people with no experience? Probably jobs that pay people very little. I'm not trying to be, seriously, like if you have a small company and you're just you do field small level, house to house jobs where you're fixing computers, you have a field tech go out. Probably those guys are looking for people with little or no experience, because they're going to train them, and then they don't want to pay them a lot. So if you've been in IT for some time, you can demand a certain price. Another one would probably be call centers. If you do call centers for like a large technical company, they probably are okay with you not having any experience, because you just follow a script. They're not going to pay a lot. They're going to have some weird hours, but they're probably just have a script. They just want you to read the script. They don't want you to like try to fix somebody's stuff. If you go off the script, then you forward somebody to the more technical people if you can't fix it with their script. So probably that would be my guess. I got accepted into Microsoft's security operations internship. Is that a good stepping stone? I have 9 years of IT experience in the military. Absolutely, man. Like, what kind of question is that? Yes, that's awesome. That's incredible. Congratulations. Your service in the military is gonna take you a really long way, man. Like, it's really good. With military folks, like, I noticed they just don't have good resumes a lot of time. Their resumes, it sucks. You've got to take your military resume and you got to transfer it into something readable by civilians. So somebody said, bro's trying to flex on us for real. I'm saying, like, what? This dude's got I got accepted in Microsoft cybersecurity operations. Is that good? By the way, I have 9 years of experience. Like, what are you talking about? That's awesome, man. You just flexed on everybody in this whole, that's incredible. Yes, it's more than a stepping stone. Like, what the hell? Yeah, it's incredible. Put it in your resume. Okay, guys, I gotta get going. Thank you so much for watching. I apologize for not being able to hit um everybody's questions. I've got a lot here, but what I'll try to do is do another one tomorrow. I've been trying to do these daily just as an experience to see just to experiment to see if this is effective. And thanks everybody so much for joining this. Thanks Tech Takeover for helping people with cloud questions. I really love when people more knowledgeable than me jump on here and help people out. That's great. But I will try to do this tomorrow again. At the very least, I'm going to be answering questions from my comments. So if you follow me on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, wherever you follow me, if you ask me a question, I'm going to do my very best to do a whole video just on your question. So it doesn't stop here. And if you guys are interested in getting my free book that comes out very soon in a couple days, and giving me a positive review. If you have negative reviews, keep it to yourself or just email me directly and give me some pointers on writing. I really appreciate it. But if you're interested in that free book that's walking you through security control assessments for the NIST 800, it's a great stepping stone for somebody who's doing risk GRC type stuff for the government, especially if you happen to be in the help desk, if you happen to already be in IT, if you happen to already be a security person and you just want some pointers. This book is great for you. Follow me, email me directly, and I'll give you a free book. So I'm trying to get those comments from you. Those reviews on Amazon. If you want to email me, it's contact@convocourses.com. You can also sign up for my newsletter. And do I have a LinkedIn? I do. My LinkedIn, I don't think that's in my bio. Maybe I'll link that somewhere at some point. That's a great idea. Thank you for mentioning that. Sign up for the newsletter. Damn, I'm getting more questions. I gotta go, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm out of here. I'll see you